twins too. So we talked about that.
Yeah. So I mean, so he represented here. It was the Caitlin Spence, who was the girlfriend of Kirby Carpenter, and that's the man that was killed, y'all, in Tippah County. And this actually happened. I think it was sometime around late November, early December of 2022. They actually found Mr. Carpenter's body on December 2nd of 22, and he was found dead from a gunshot wound outside County Road 600 in a house that he was living with Spence. They were not married, and they just had a kid together.
I was thinking they had a baby.
They believe he was killed on November 30th, actually, so a few days before. And there was a substantial amount of items that were stolen from his house from around the time of the murder. Carpenter owned multiple rental properties and was the owner of what's called Mississippi Gold, Silver, and Coin Exchange. According to what I watched on Law and Crime last night, he was a really wealthy guy.
He did really well for himself.
Being very young, very entrepreneurial guy, and done really, really well. It was really sad watching. I watched it again this morning. He sounded like he was a really good dad. He was really, really involved. Did he have another kid, I think, from another relationship or something?
Yeah, I think so.
But he and Miss Spence had just had a child together. Well, her parents are from Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. And
could this finally be a mother-in-law worse than mine?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so that's what's so crazy about this, y'all. So her parents, I think it's Jeffrey and her Karen Spence, they had come down to Mississippi sometime, maybe the summer of 2022, and they stay with them for what I read 4 months. They're staying with Kirby and their daughter at Kirby's house.
And it wasn't supposed to be that long.
No, but they just end up staying there that long. And I don't know why I don't know, maybe they were waiting to help out with the arrival of the child, which that could make sense. I get that. And so they're there, and then they leave, and then they come back, and once they found his body. So I don't know when they left Tippah County, which is Ripley, if anybody knows where that is. I think northeast Mississippi.
I wonder if there was some sort of altercation, like, hey, it's time for them to go, and they didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. And is that when that's when he was killed or something like that? That's what I'm wondering. But so they come back on December 2nd or right thereafter when they found his body on the side of the house, and then they are allowed to go back home, and they don't get arrested for like another year. I think it is another year or so. So that's the kind of the interesting parts about that. And what they found was some evidence. So the dad, a few months after this Jeffrey Spence, who's going to go on trial in September, they find that he pays for a house in Pennsylvania with cash. So that was like kind of interesting. Like, why did he do that?
I wonder if they had fallen on hard times and this just seemed to be a way out. We'll kill him and take his money.
Well, it seemed interesting that you would kill your daughter's, I don't know what you call him, boyfriend, child's father. I hate using the term
significant other,
baby daddy, but and then you decide to kill this guy, and the daughter apparently knows about it because she's charged with accessory after the fact for some reason,
but has agreed to testify against her own parents.
Right, and that's where we're going to now. So then she just, I guess a few months ago, agreed as part of a plea deal to testify against her father and her mother. And what she was charged with, I think she was charged with accessory after the fact, which just means she tried to maybe efforts to conceal the crime, to hide, her parents, that kind of thing.
What a tough spot to be in, as a daughter. It's like, these are my parents. I just lost my, the person I'm in love with, the father of my child. And now I find out, I wonder if she knew prior that they were planning it.
That's what's interesting. Did they just talk about this? I mean, or did anybody know about any conflict in their relationship that we don't know about? It's interesting to see what that could have been like. What the motive, because you think like you're having a kid with this guy, he's already rich, so you're going to be taken care of. Like the kid's going to be taken care of.
I wonder if there were any type of domestic violence issues where, the dad felt that he needed vengeance for his daughter.
Oh, you're talking about like Kirby Carpenter, the victim, might have committed domestic violence. We don't know that, obviously.
No, I mean, I'm just speculating because what would make him want to do that? I mean, I know my dad would probably want to kill someone if he thought they hurt me.
Yeah, or it could just be for the oldest reason there is, money, right?
Money, yeah.
And that's what, I mean, he had a lot of it, and apparently they were trying to take stuff from the house upon his death, valuables. And now his sister, Mr. Carpenter's sister, which is Maddie Jones, her name is Maddie Jones, she tried to prevent this. But at first they were kind of loose about it because they're thinking, well, maybe they're taking stuff for the child, and a lot of this is going to be the child's property, and which would
all of it would be.
Well, now he's got other children, so you'd have to. I don't know what his will
said,
or you'd have to look at that. So, but there'd certainly be a portion of it that his child would receive, and but then they let them kind of go through the stuff, is what I read, and then they later regretted it because like, wait a second here, something's fishy.
Do you have a life insurance policy?
That I don't know. It does. I didn't
wonder
say.
if she was the beneficiary of any type of policy.
They weren't married at that point. It still
Yeah,
could
but
have.
you still can be,
You still
you
can
know?
do that, but it has not.
You can make anybody the
I
beneficiary.
imagine if there was that she was, it would have already been in these articles because that's a big
I
thing.
would think so. But I mean, that I do think people think about that when they have a child,
Oh, I think they do too. But I think that like if she was a beneficiary of this policy, then that would be reported immediately because that's always like the DA's office would be like, yes, like that's the motive we got. You're the beneficiary of the life insurance policy.
Yeah.
And then if
it gives you much more of a motive.
And then if she was, I think she probably would have been charged with capital murder herself. I think she initially was, and then they reduced it. But if she was like the intended thing was for a life insurance policy, there ain't no way she's getting out with an accessory after the fact plea. There's just no way. Like, because then she's the main one, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to me like that probably was not the thing there. Because I'm not just coming up with this myself. There's so many cases where spouses kill the other one for.
I mean, that's always
who
somebody looks at first, and they always check, about the beneficiary of life insurance policies, and because that gives somebody a motive.
Absolutely. I mean, it absolutely does. And so like here, what I'm reading is, so she entered the plea to accessory after the fact to capital murder on April 17th. And, she, if it was her financial benefit directly for her, I think that they wouldn't have let her off that easy. I'm a feeling it seems like this dad is the primary suspect here. Primary one, because he then again, like I said, a few months later, he goes and buys a house in Pennsylvania with cash, with cash. So how much cash was sitting around the house?
That's strange too. Like, why do you have that much cash sitting around the house?
Well, I mean, you can't. It depends on what kind of business you're in.
I wonder if he was doing something sketchy.
Well, I don't mean sketchy. I mean, he's selling gold and silver. I could see that you could be a lot of people buying stuff with cash. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of businesses. I mean, I don't want to say, the legal business is one that deals in a lot of cash. I mean, there's lots of businesses that deal in cash.
Because those drug dealers that need to hire defense attorneys usually have cash.
I'm not admitting to anything. I'm just saying I've heard that there's a lot of businesses that deal in cash. So, I mean, that doesn't, that doesn't shock me. It doesn't mean that he necessarily was involved in something shady or anything like that. But what is shady is that the dad just goes and buys a house.
With cash.
With cash, just right after this thing happens. So I think that probably is going to,
I'd be curious to know what their financial state was prior to his death as well.
Yeah, and I think obviously I'm sure they've looked into that.
Like, what did they own? Did they have any assets, or were they, had they come up on hard times and were needing to stay there or find a way to buy a new home, and this was, an option?
Yeah, I mean, and also what was the mother, Karen Spence? So there's Jeffrey and Karen Spence, who are the mother of Caitlin Spence, who Caitlin, again, is the Kirby Carpenter's child's mother. Girlfriend, they weren't married, but they were living together, had a child together. Now, Karen's charged too, so I wonder what her role is. I think Jeffrey is going to trial first here in this case. And
sounds like, I mean, according to that, you would think that they had kind of like cooked up this plan.
Yeah, because they're all charged with conspiracy. So there, I mean, you got that too.
Yeah.
Well, they must have, conspired to do this. It's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to hear what happens and see when you look at it just at a base level, money's the motive, obviously. So, and that's very common. But why, when you're just having a kid with somebody, you're going to get some of the money anyway? So how did the dad convince her hey, we need to kill him because we need to get the money?
This is your granddaughter's father.
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking your granddaughter's father away from her forever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you're already in that loop. It's not like you're just robbing somebody or you're stealing money from some person you don't know or don't know well, or you're not going to be. But you're going to be with this person, it sounded like, because they were living together. I don't know if they were going to get married or whatever they're going to do. And they just had this child. So what was the long-term benefit of that? I don't know.
That's why I wonder if there was something else that we don't know about,
right?
like some sort of domestic violence situation where he felt like, he had to protect his granddaughter, his newborn granddaughter, and his daughter, and rid them of this man. And I have no idea. This is pure speculation, but I can see that being a reason why they would conspire, because now she's tied to him for life. They have a baby.
Yeah, I mean, right, of course, but then if that were the reason, are you going to steal the money? It seems like that's almost more like a heat of passion kind of situation, a manslaughter situation. You're that angry, you're protecting your daughter. That wouldn't really, to me, be the same as a capital murder. And for people to know, capital murder is committing a murder while the commission of another felony. Here would probably be robbery. So
because you would want to not do something like that because it makes you look suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, so if it was just like, I'm protecting my daughter, I'm angry, and I wanted to kill him, yeah, I don't think you'd have the underlying robbery, or I just don't think you'd have that. I mean,
I don't know, maybe
really
they just
sense.
thought nobody would know that he had that money there and they could take it,
Could be. You don't know. It just it may just, again, old-fashioned greed. The dad talked his daughter into it, and everybody just figured they can make out and get rid of this guy. Maybe she obviously probably didn't like him that much. She was going to help with his murder if she was part of that.
It's going to be interesting to see this unfold and find out all the details that we are unaware of.
Yeah, and we will be following that for September for y'all, and we'll